All right, I'm going to go ahead and get going. So welcome again, everyone, to the Lunar Surface Innovation Consortium Spring Meeting 2022. I am Rachel Klima, the director of LSIC, and what I wanted to do is just kind of talk through what we even are. So LSIC was formed 2 years ago in the spring, in 2020, right on the brink of COVID emerging. And we are now emerging from our cocoon back into a place where we can see people and get together. So I wanted to talk through the motivation of why we were formed and some of the things that we've been trying to put together to help bring the community together. And I'm pointing the wrong direction. All right, so the Lunar Surface Innovation Consortium was formed to bring together folks from academia, industry, nonprofits, government, not just NASA, but other government agencies who have a vested interest in returning to the surface of the moon and also remaining on the surface of the moon. So building this sustainable infrastructure, building an economy around that infrastructure, and really, really learning how to live off-world and become a multi-planet species, essentially. We have grown really rapidly, in my opinion, over the last 2 years. We have something like over 1,600 people that have been participating, and I think 600 organizations signed up, with 500 of those participating very regularly in the meetings that we hold. So, and they're split. You can see here on the slide. They're split among the different stakeholders. Just bear in mind that the industry wedge, we have a lot more industry members where there's a couple folks participating, whereas at academia, we might have many people from a single university. So as far as participants go, it's very roughly split between many of these stakeholders. What our objective was when we formed was to look at these technology needs, to talk across these different groups, these stakeholders in this effort, and to really understand what has NASA invested in, what have people invested in internally, and what is missing. So to really understand where are the key gaps, where are we missing things, and what we've really evolved into doing is looking even beyond the really obvious technical infrastructure elements, but thinking about things that haven't traditionally been done in space. So bringing in members to the community that have automated robots for mining or things like that, or heavy construction, some of the things we're going to need to really operate on the lunar surface. So we've been trying to build this consortium and bring in new members to the space community. Another thing we've really tried to do, because there are space groups out there, there's a Lunar Exploration Analysis Group, there's a survey group, there are folks that are really talking about the science and exploration goals, but we're really trying to look at the technology drivers, the technology needs, and this burgeoning space economy on the moon. And we would like to try to help connect the community here with the other resources that are present. So we're looking at where there are gaps in resources and trying to develop those, as well as connect folks with some of the existing infrastructure, technical infrastructure on Earth that can help them learn about operating in this environment. And then we're really, like I started to say, we're really trying to pull in folks from across the entire United States and even across the international community to make sure that everyone who wants to go to the moon, everyone who wants to be a part of this has an avenue to get there. So we've worked really hard to try to reach out to folks in every state, folks at different universities, colleges that haven't been engaged, as engaged or able to find a pathway to NASA and to the industry in general, to give them a way to communicate with NASA and with everyone else in the community. And once again, looking the wrong direction. So we run it out of APL, but we've got an executive committee that has representatives from throughout the different types of organizations to help advise us on the strategy, to look at our goals, because we really want this to do something actively. We don't want to just be a meeting where people get together and give presentations and then walk away. We want to build this into a team, really, where we work together. And it's difficult. 1,600 people is a really big team. But we've tried to design a cycle that allows people to interact in smaller groups and find those that they want to partner with, find those that they want to build relationships with as this economy grows. And you'll be hearing from some of the executive committee folks on a panel a little bit later today. So just briefly, some of the things that we've developed, we have a newsletter that goes out to everyone who signs up for LSIC that tries to keep you aware of what's going on at NASA, what's going on in the community. We have tech spotlights for folks from any of the different types of organizations to share what they're working on. We run workshops, so we have ongoing focus group meetings every month, and then we have workshops that bring together some of the high-level questions. And you're going to hear a lot more from each of the different focus group leads tomorrow. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about everything that we've run over the last year, but I will give you kind of like a high-level understanding. One of the things that's really been key, especially when looking towards a future economy on the moon, is trying to bring together the supply and demand sides of the entire equation and help people understand who's going to make use of things that you develop and who's going to be making things that you might be able to make use of. And even going back to what Jason was talking about and others, the technology that folks are developing, we want to help you infuse those into all kinds of things. So if they are, lunar applicable, if they're Earth applicable, if they're other space applicable, we want to help make those connections. We have an internal collaboration site that anyone who participates in the consortium is welcome to use, where you can interact and share your skills and your expertise and get to know one another. And then I'll talk a little bit more about what we have on our website later. So we have 6 focus groups mapped to the key technical areas that are identified in the Lunar Surface Innovation Initiative Program. And the leads from that group will be speaking tomorrow, but basically what they do is they meet on a monthly basis to have these continued dialogues about the challenges. And so we've got extreme access, dust mitigation, and extreme environments are all kind of overarching topics that span, all different types of applications and concerns. And then we have surface power, in situ resource utilization, and surface excavation and construction, which are relatively self-explanatory. So I invite you to mingle with the leads as we go forward in this. All right. So I'm going to just flip through this relatively quickly. We have these 2 meetings. We have a meeting in the spring and a meeting in the fall where we all try to get together virtually and online to share some of the technical details and developments that everyone is working on throughout the year. And then we have this ongoing focus group discussion. And then what we try to do through this is really keep the dialogue open, not only among the community, but between NASA and the community. So this is a way for NASA to come and listen to your discussions, and that helps to affect what are the proposal opportunities? What technologies do they need to target when they release a tipping point solicitation or other types of early stage innovation, whatever it might be? Where are those gaps so that they can point the money in the right direction, so they can make smart investments? So I really, we have Jim mentioned the RFI that came out. I really encourage everyone to watch those and also provide your feedback through that mechanism, because it's very important to NASA that they hear what the community is thinking. We had our fall meeting this year at Bowie State University. And the other thing that we try to do, especially me at the kind of overarching level, is capture the findings at each of the meetings and then use the next meeting to move forward on those. So some of the things that we heard at that, we were really kind of trying to learn about how to draw in folks at universities that don't have maybe as built up technical infrastructure for building technology, like heavy engineering instrumentation or anything like that. How do we partner with them to bring them into the community and support them? But also, how do we speak one another's language, and how do we help grow this community in a way where people don't feel run out at the very beginning, because it's very difficult if you're coming into something and there's a lot of jargon and there's a lot of people that have connections already, it can be difficult. So we really want to try to learn how to do better as a community with that. We also captured some of the technical findings, and this is what we're going to be talking about today builds on these. So it's come up again and again that standardization, at least of key elements, is incredibly important. So what you'll be hearing later today is how we're trying to move forward with a working group to talk about standardization and open systems architecture. We also have heard that it's very important to think now about the ideas of recycling or repurposing infrastructure that's on the moon. It makes economic sense. It makes everything sense. And we wanted to kind of learn more about the legal ramifications of that. What is in place with the Outer Space Treaty and otherwise as far as dealing with those legal questions. So we're going to have a panel, and I probably should flip. Here, let's do that. So we've got the MOSA working group and panel, and then we're going to have a law and tech policy panel to delve into this and get some subject matter experts in the room to discuss that. And then finally, it's very important that we understand where resources are available. And so this is something that we're going to be following up on jointly with the Lunar Surface Science Workshop to understand what do we really need as far as a resource prospecting campaign. And so this is being led by Clive Neal and others, and we're going to be working with them and then bringing it to the community in the fall, what the outcomes of that were. So just a couple other quick things since I don't want to get us off time. One thing we've worked through on some of the other efforts that we're doing in helping NASA is analyzing the simulants that are available, because many folks need to use lunar simulants to understand whether your technology is going to work on the moon, right? So we've been conducting chemical and physical analyses of those, and we publish a report. We published a report a year ago, and now again just recently, to kind of help you understand the key differences, because they don't all necessarily fit the same needs. So if you're looking for a physical simulant, which ones might serve your needs? If you need something that's chemically as close to the lunar soil as possible, what might meet your needs for that? And that's present on our website. And then I mentioned the MOSA working group, which you'll hear about today, so I won't dwell on that too much. But you can read what they're really trying to achieve on this. And then we try to keep updated, an updated calendar of some of the events that are relevant to the community. So we are tentatively planning for our fall meeting the first week of November. We're kind of still checking for conflicts on that, but if people want to kind of softly pencil that in your, if you would like to join us again in the fall, that's what we're aiming for. So I will just close by saying, everyone is welcome to participate. I invite you to sign up on our website, and we will promise not to email spam you too much, but we will. You'll hear about NASA solicitations, and if you have the time to be more heavily involved in any of the focus group discussions, they're always welcome. They're always looking for more engaged members to join the discussions. So I will wrap up and pass on to our next panel, but I will answer questions. I'll be around to answer questions in the room, and I will, if any come through on Slido, I will enter them in text so that you have answers. So thank you very much.